Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about future faking. Narcissists are notorious for making empty promises, for planning all of these big life events with you and never following through. There is an actual term for it, and it's called future faking, and we're going to talk about that today. My name is Amy and this is Narcaway. My channel is devoted to educating, supporting, and encouraging victims and survivors of narcissistic abuse. If you don't already follow me on Instagram, you can follow me there now at Narcaway. Today's topic was suggested by Chris. Chris, thanks so much for suggesting future faking as a topic in today's video. So let's go ahead and get right into the video. Narcissists promise you the world. Narcissists will say anything they need to keep you on the hook until they're ready to discard you. So if marriage is important to you, but they don't really want to get married, they're not going to flat out tell you, I don't want to get married. This is not what I see for myself, and like have a normal discussion or an adult mature discussion about that. Instead, they're just going to lie to you and tell you, yes, we'll get married. Yes, we'll get married, because they know that's what you want and that's what you want to hear. So you stay with the narcissist, because otherwise you might realize that your values are not lining up and marriage is important to you. If it's not important to them, you might end the relationship and move on. And the narcissist doesn't want that. They want you until they don't want you anymore. They want you to be on their tails until they decide to discard you. So in order for that to happen, they have to keep you believing that you're moving towards a future together that you have envisioned for yourself, even if the narcissist doesn't want that. I promised you guys I was going to share some of my personal experiences with you today in the video. And the future faking was a huge part of my relationship. I was promised that we would get married, we would buy a house, and we would do all of these wonderful things that never happened. Buying a house was very important to me, and after my narcissist and I hate that phrase, my ex and I were together for, well, it was after we were engaged, so we were probably around the 8-year mark together. We finally started looking at houses, and it took that long just to get him to agree to go look at houses. You know, there's no obligation to go look at open houses or to meet up with a real estate agent. It took that long to get him to do that, and we did, and we started looking at houses, and I got very excited and I got very serious, and I thought, okay, we were going to buy a house. We were pre-approved for our mortgage. We knew what we were qualified for. Like, the ball was rolling. And he didn't like this house. He didn't like that house. He didn't like this house. And so we kept changing our what we wanted, what we were looking for based on his wants and needs. But the problem was it never matched up. We looked at dozens and dozens of houses in different areas, in different price ranges, with different amenities, and nothing made him happy. And it got to the point where finally the real estate agent asked him, what do you want? What are you looking for? And he came up with the answer, I don't know. I'll just know it when I see it. And that's when the light bulb went off in my head, and I realized this was a game. This was not real. He had no intention of actually buying a house with me. He was going through the motions to keep me happy because I thought we were in the process of buying a house. He was in the process of keeping me happy, stringing me along, leading me to believe we were going to buy a house, which was never going to happen. And it didn't. In retrospect, that's a good thing. But for so long, for well over a year, we kept this poor real estate agent on the hook, thinking we were going to buy a house. wasting all her time, all the time that we wasted of hers and of mine and of his. He would rather waste his own time going to look at a house that he knew he had no intention of buying, just to keep the charade up. Because otherwise I might have said, listen, you're not interested in buying a house. A house is important to me. So I'm going to leave the relationship at this point. He couldn't have that. So he needed me to stay with him because I was his primary source of supply. I was very good supply. He was not ready to discard me. So in order to keep everything just the way it was, keep me on the hook as his supply, keep me happy, he faked that. And that's future faking. That's a very specific example of the lengths they will go to. The narcissist is notorious for doing this. I've said that already, and it's because it's true. Another thing you might notice is just having a simple conversation about these big life events or future events triggers the narcissist into a narcissistic rage. And, in a normal adult healthy relationship, you have to expect to be able to have a conversation with your partner, even a hard conversation that can be respectful and that you can disagree on whatever the topic is. But at the end of the conversation, nobody is left crying or being demeaned or hurt or defensive. That's the kind of mature relationship you want. Being able to have hard conversations and leaving them feeling good. When you have a conversation with a narcissist about a hard topic, you are not left feeling good. You are left feeling far from it. And I'm going to give you another personal example. This one goes back very earlier into our relationship, probably the first or second year, and we started talking about moving in together. And I remember the day very clearly. We were at a park. It was a beautiful summer day. We were sitting on rocks and we were having this conversation. And all of a sudden it turned into a fight. And this was very early on. This was before like the real regular fights and the triggering was happening. And we just ended up leaving in this big fight. And I didn't know what happened. I'm like, how did this conversation turn into a fight? And looking back on it, I could replay it in my head and I realized he got so put off by the conversation and he so didn't want to have the conversation, and he twisted the conversation so it just became something that it didn't start off as. And you end up just confused and you don't know where the conversation took a left turn, but you're now on the defensive, you're confused, you're trying to converse with somebody who won't let you speak. They talk louder than you, they interrupt you, they talk over you, and you just end up giving up because you really can't combat it because there's no point. They are relentless. They won't stop. They will keep on you until you back down. And that's what happens. And then they pull a fight, they stop talking to you, you end up in a silent treatment, and it's just the ugliest, hardest, most torturous feeling to go through this over and over and over again. And in a way, what they're doing is they're punishing you for bringing this up. And so this punishment is so awful that you actually hesitate the next time. The next time you want to bring this conversation up, you probably won't because you know how they acted last time and you don't want that to happen again. They will make you feel so bad and so stupid and so punished for these normal everyday conversations that you just stop having them. And, my friends used to tell me, just talk to him. And I'm like, you don't understand. There is no just talking to him. When I sit down to have a conversation with him, as soon as he sees it going in a direction that he doesn't want to deal with, instead of handling it in a mature, calm way, I'm attacked and I'm bullied and I'm confused and it's a word salad of just nonsense that you leave there, and then he doesn't talk to you for however many days or weeks afterwards. So it's just not worth it. It's like I don't want to talk to him because I know I'm not achieving anything. There is no point to having this conversation because I'm not going to achieve what I'm looking for out of the conversation, and I'm going to make things worse. What kind of relationship is that when you can't talk to somebody because of the fear you're going to make things worse? It's messed up. That's abuse. That's an abusive relationship. And you can take the word narcissistic right out of the equation here. That is plain, straight up abuse. If you can't talk to your partner without being afraid of the outcome of a conversation because you're going to be bullied and attacked and name called and silent treatment, that is abusive, and that is not the type of relationship you should be in. Nobody should. Soon as you start seeing those red flags, get out of that relationship, because you know what? It's never going to stop. That's the way that that person deals with conflict, and that's not a healthy way to be. Guys, thanks for watching. If you don't already subscribe, please subscribe today, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks, and I love you all.